Hi, I'm back and today I'm going to show you an update to my emergency survival kit. Now, this is not the only kit I have, but this is my main kit that I would grab if I had to leave. Now, I understand most people would, fill up a backpack, things like that. Having totes where you can put stuff in, to me makes more sense. You can throw a tote in the back seat, you can fill it to the top, you can have all kinds of things in your tote. Now, if you're bugging out, going out in the woods, yes, you don't want a tote. But if you're like having to evacuate your home, or you need food or supplies backed up in case something happens, I will show you my emergency kit. Now, like I say, I do have another kit that I've started. So this is just the main one I would grab, and I'll tell you why. Now this tote, I paid around $6, I believe, at Walmart. I would have got a bigger one, but right now our budget is extremely tight. If you watch my videos, you know we're purchasing some land, and so money is extremely tight right now. So let me show it to you. Of course, I have talked about some of these items before. It depends on where you live. You may not need these. These are body warmers. Like I said, if you live in a warm area, you definitely should not need something like this. You can replace this with something else. I do still have to get paracord and some plastic sheeting for this kit. If you were bugging out in the woods or something, you would really need that. If we had to leave, I have a full-size van that we could sleep in, so we really don't need paracord or plastic. But if you're going out in the woods, that's something you would definitely need. But a couple things I did bring along. Water purification tablets. I have talked about these. These tablets, each tablet will purify 5 to 6.5 gallons of water. So I have quite a bit right here. I only have 3 packs in here, and each one's 10. So that's like 300 gallons of water I can purify for drinking. Of course, I did talk about a knife. This is just a cheap little lock blade. I don't use this for anything other than leave it in my emergency kit. I'd never take it out. It has a decent edge. I have 2 rolls of cheap electrical tape. Now you're probably wondering, why do I have electrical tape? Well, if you're in a vehicle and something happens, then you need electrical tape to wrap wires, or in a real hard situation, if somebody's injured, you can rip up a piece of clothing, say a shirt, part of a pants, and use the electrical tape to wrap around and tape it to hold it to where it'll stop the bleeding. Electrical tape is a really good thing to carry, especially if you have to do any wiring or even in an emergency. I mean, if you get a cut, you can take this electrical tape and put something. Eventually, I will end up probably putting some type of padding in here for cuts, bruises, whatever. For injuries, like I said, I do have another kit that I will be starting, and it'll probably be about the same size as this one. So all my medical supplies will probably go in that kit, including the electrical tape. Now here's something right here most people don't even think about. Just a cheap, old-time can opener. You put it on the can, smash it down, and just pry it around. Any type of can opener, you really need to have one if you have any type of cans. Most cans nowadays have the pull tops, but some cans you come across will not have pull tops. Having a small can opener, this is also a bottle opener, you know, corkscrew, something like this. It doesn't matter what kind of can opener you have, as long as you have one. The smaller the better, unless you have trouble holding things, like I do. That's why we have one with a larger handle. A bar of soap. Now, I don't have shampoo in here, but we do have soap. This is just ivory in a plastic bag. That way you can stay clean if you come across some water out of a river, lake, you know, whatever. A bar of soap is always good to have. Bacteria does not grow on soap, so even if you get a cut, you can wipe a little soap on it and that will help. Now, I don't advise leaving it on there, but you can at least clean your cut with it. I have one lighter in here. We have matches put back. They are not in here. They're in a different, like I said, I have a different tote. What I'm doing is I'm separating my totes. So each tote is a survival kit. That means I can survive off either one. If I grab one, forget the other one, then we can survive. So each one has some way to light fire. It's always a good way to have at least 2 ways to light fire. Lighters, matches, waterproof matches, a flint rod, some other way. Now this, I got at Walmart. We do have a machete, and yes, in a bug out situation or an emergency situation, we would take our machete. But if we run out and forget it, because, well, we have to grab the cat, has a little saw type thing on the back. I don't know if you can see this. And it has a blade going from here all the way up and around. I have actually used this on some small stuff outside. It does work extremely well. But like I said, we did end up buying a machete. A machete is really too long to fit in a kit. But this is a decent size. It's a decent weight. And you can chop with it. You can cut small branches. It has a saw on the back here. So you can cut small branches with it too. And like I said, we did get this at Walmart. It is Fiskars, Fiskars. It wasn't real expensive. You do not have to have one of these. As long as you have a knife or something, you can cut, you know, small branches, twigs, something with. But cutting something larger, if you need to make a shelter, you need to have a way to cut it. This is a decent tool. Personally, I would rather have a machete in that situation. But as far as a survival pack, this is a real good, decent tool to have. It's small, it fits across the tote, depends on the size tote you get. It goes right in. Now, you would probably not have one of these. This is a machete and axe sharpener. You can get away with just having a small flint stone, well, sharpening stone. These are kind of expensive. It comes with a little wire brush to clean your blade and clean the tool. It does a fairly decent job. I did use this on the machete. When I purchased the machete, I bought it from Ace Hardware. I paid $7 for the machete. I paid more for this sharpener than I did for the machete. And the problem with this tool, on the flat edges, it's perfect. It'll get a good sharp on it. But where your machete's round, it has problems with that. So if you're using the flat part of your machete, then yeah, this does great. That's why I'm saying just a simple sharpening stone that you can buy would work just as good. Now I have some duct tape. I have the silver duct tape. There's a couple of reasons. One, is pretty heavy duty. Two, in a situation, survival situation, it does reflect. You can actually make a little signaler out of this. You do not have to have this if you have the electrical tape, but this will also help bandage. If somebody breaks a leg and you have to put a stick up on their leg, I don't know if you can see my leg, probably not. You could actually use this duct tape and wrap it around their leg to hold that stick in place. Same with their arm. If their arm's broke, you have a stick here, you just wrap this tape around in 3 or 4 places, and that'll keep that arm straight. You can make a sling out of this. Now remember, this is going to be sticky as all can be. So if you're going to make a sling out of it, wrap a couple backwards. So this is right here against the body, and then just tape over that so it'll hold it. It's always good to have. Now, of course, the most important thing in the world, a couple rolls of toilet paper. Now you're probably going, well, I don't really need toilet paper. Well, in a situation where there's no water, no lights, or there's no lights but you have water, actually you need toilet paper. So you can blow your nose with it. You can, well, of course, wipe with it. You can light fires with it. There's all kinds of things you can do with some toilet paper. And you can throw, throw it over somebody's house, whatever. I don't advise you doing it. Now here's where we get back into the food items. Now, if you watched my other video on my emergency kit, you would see I had a 4-pack and half of a 4-pack of Chef Boyardee stuff. Now this has stuff like that. I have 4, these came in a 4-pack, spaghetti and meatballs. These do not expire until 2021. And you can eat it a couple months after that expiration date. And it's like February 2021. So that's 4 spaghetti and meatballs, 4 beefaroni, right here, and 4 mini raviolis. Now, you're probably going, why do you get the minis? I got the minis because they were the only ones my Walmart had. They did not have the regulars. My girlfriend does not really like ravioli a whole lot, beefaroni, stuff like that, but she will eat it. So I have 12 cans of that. Now between the 2 of us, if we're only eating 1 meal a day, for 2 of us, that's 6 days worth of food just on these cans. You can survive on that. Of course, you'll be hungry, but you can survive on it. A couple other things I have in here. This is something I showed in the video about my survival kit. This is the instant coffee. This stuff expired in 2016. It's perfectly fine. It's never been opened. The seal's still sealed. Perfect. It has not hardened up in any way. Now honey, I believe I've talked about that in another video. In my other kit, oatmeal is going in that kit. A couple other things are going in that kit. You need some way to sweeten some stuff. If you're eating oatmeal, you need something to put in it, and that's honey. I have 1 can of evaporated milk in this kit. In the other kit, powdered milk. And the reason I'm doing that is, like I say, I'm separating. So if I end up just grabbing 1 kit, each one of my kits will have everything we need to survive at least 6-7 days. Pineapple chunks. I've talked about fruit before. Fruits, vegetables. Look at the expiration date when you buy them. Get the one with the date farthest away. Now, this right here, A lot of people have said, well, you have food, what are you going to drink? You drink what's in the can. I understand that most people would not. Most people are used to opening a can, dumping the fluid out, once it's heated up or whatever. Don't do that. In a survival situation, you need water. If you don't have access to water, this has water in it. Water, juice, some type of syrup, some type of liquid is in these cans. Green beans. Once again, this is just for something extra, because you're going to get tired of eating ravioli, spaghetti, things like that for 6 days. You need something a little bit on the side. And once again, this does have water in the can that you can drink if you need to. And pears. Now usually we have pears in juice. When I went to Walmart to get the pears, they did not have it in juice. All they had was syrup, so we got that. You can add a little water to it and tone it down a little bit because it's pretty stout. And that's this survival kit. Once again, you may or may not need everything in my kit. You may not be able to get everything in my kit. This wasn't cheap. You can go to any Ace Hardware. You can order cheap machetes online. Just something that's cheap. You can replace this with something cheaper. This wasn't cheap. This sharpener was not cheap. I think you can find them for around $10, $12, $15. So it's not exactly cheap. You can find stuff cheaper, like sharpening stones, and that takes up less room. You really only need one of these. If you think you're going to need something for an emergency, something that's strong enough to hold somebody's arm or leg or hold a stick on somebody, go for the duct tape. You can make a sling out of this. If you get the silver tape, you can make a reflector out of it, a signaler. But it's always a good idea to have some type of tape that has some decent strength to it. Always have a way to light fires. I will probably end up putting matches in here as well, or a fire stick. That way I have at least 2 ways to light a fire. A knife. And you're probably going, well, if I have a machete, what do I need a knife for? It's kind of hard to skin things with a machete. It's kind of hard to skin a fish or cut a fish with a machete. Just a small knife. Make sure it doesn't have edges in the blade, notches in it. You just want something that's solid. It's easier to use, easier to cut with. And you have a less chance of cutting your finger off if it doesn't have a bunch of notches in it. I do advise some type of locking blade. If you can, if you can't, any type of cheap knife will work as long as it has a good, edge on it. And once again, I have water purification tablets that go in my kit. You probably won't do that. You can buy some at Walmart. You can buy them offline. The one thing I would definitely grab is my 5-gallon buckets, because my purification tablets only purify 5 gallons to 6.5 gallons. The ones at Walmart are way weaker, and they purify, like 2 tablets purifies a gallon, something like that. If you can not get purification tablets, regular bleach, get a small bottle of regular bleach. And remember though, bleach loses its potency after about a year. So if you haven't used that in a year, get rid of it and replace it. That's one thing you could be risking your life on. Now a lot of people talk about canned meats. Most canned meats have a shelf life of a year to 2 years. Depends on what you get. Spam, that stuff will probably last 100 years, but Spam is just nasty. So if that's something you like to eat, hey, throw it in there. Chips like Pringles have like a year to a 2-year shelf life. Throw some in your kit. Once again, if you're going to have things like macaroni and cheese or something that takes milk, you have to have some type of milk or if you just want to mix it up to have something to drink other than water, throw some Kool-Aid packs, some drink packs in your emergency kit, and that'll give you something else to drink. Alright, I apologize for the length of the video. This is an update on this kit. I did purchase this today. I actually wanted a bigger one, and the one I wanted, Walmart didn't have any. It's like the one that I have for my DC power inverter, my big inverter, and they had none of those. So I got a small one. It costed like $5, something like that, $6. But it holds quite a bit of stuff. Anyway, this is just an update of my emergency kit. Once again, you do not have to get everything I have. Use your best judgment for you and your family, and put in stuff. Make sure it's stuff you'll eat. Make sure it's stuff, some stuff at least, with some type of water in it, some type of fluid. I have heard people tell other people, drink out of your toilet tank. Is it possible? It depends. And I'm saying this for a reason. A lot of people throw those cleaners, those little round cleaners, where they hang some type of dispenser in their toilet tank. If your toilet has one of those, you do not drink that water. That is pure poison. It will kill you. And if it doesn't, it'll make you sick beyond sick. Hot water heaters is a good source of water if you have access to one. If you don't, fruits, vegetables in a can, they have fluid in there. They have some type of water or juice. Canned milk, you have to add water to it. I mean, I wouldn't drink that stuff straight, but you have to add water to it to tone it down, mix it up, and you're actually supposed to refrigerate it or cool it down. If you have no way to do that, you know, you'll just have to suffer through it. But once again, this is my emergency kit, and this is only one of my kits. Like I said, I am in the process of working on another one. It's not quite full. It does have paracord, you know, basically, you know, actually right now it has not paracord, which I will be getting. I prefer paracord. It has clothesline, you know, the plastic coated clothesline. I will replace that with paracord. It's easier to use, it's smaller to fit in the emergency kit. So, and of course I need to get some plastic. But if I was going to run, you know, like I said, we can stay in my vehicle, in my van. We're good on that. We can be out of the weather. And, you know, especially with midnight, we don't want to be out in the middle of the woods. He'd get lost. So, if you think you can sleep in your vehicle, or if you think you have a place to go, as long as you have a way to cook, and you can watch my videos on how to make a can into a small cook stove. If you have a way to cook, you have water to keep you hydrated, or have access to water, you still have to have a way, one, to defend yourself in a real bad situation, two, to survive at least. You know, they talk about survival for 3 days. I've been through hurricanes where the power has been out for a month, and that meant no water for a month. So, you know, prepare the best you can. Another reason I got a small tote, I would have preferred a little bit bigger one than this, but like I said, Walmart, you know, what can you do? It will fit under my bed. So, anyway, that's it for this video. I apologize for the length. Use your best judgment. I wanted to update you on my survival emergency kit and show you what I have in mine. You may or may not want this in yours. Use your best judgment. Think about what your family will eat. Think about how long it'll last. These cans of ravioli and stuff will last March of 2021. This is 2019, and this is May of 2019, so 2 years basically in this tote. So Think about what your family will eat. Think about what you need to survive. All right, that's it. And I hope everyone has a good one.